Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And today's video is going to be all about sketching and how to improve it. So, I am giving you 5 tips that are very important and very helpful when it comes to learning sketching. So, the first rule of learning good quality sketching is to use loose paper. This is particularly true for design sketching, may not be very much applicable to art sketching or artists who do a lot of portraits or landscapes, but particularly for design sketching and sketching related to industrial design, this particular technique is very helpful. So if you are into car design, if you are into product design, then these techniques are very critical. So number one is use loose sheets instead of getting a drawing book which is binded and which is generally very heavier, having 50 to 100 pages, is not a very good medium to begin with. Why I am saying so is because as a designer you will be practicing sketching with a lot of 3D objects, and when it comes to drawing 3D objects you want to rotate the canvas many times until you finish the sketch. So when you want to rotate the drawing or the canvas or the sheet, it's much more easier to have a loose sheet as your canvas. Then second thing which is very critical, or I think the most critical part of sketching, is the line quality, and this is applicable across all kinds of sketching. So try to understand and practice different line qualities and the force in the line. So let me give you an example. This line, this line, this line. See the difference, right? All three are straight lines, but there is a difference of force, there is a difference of, you can say, thickness, or difference of strength and color also. So how these three lines are important is, whenever you are drawing, let's say, a car. So initially I'll be drawing these with these thin lines, and as and when my car gets ready, I'll be increasing the strength of these lines. So this is basically called the strength of the line. So from very low, this is the lowest, to the highest. And you should be able to draw these types of lines, as well as understand when to use what. So whenever I'm drawing these 3D objects, it really helps when I start with a thinnest line, or the the lowest quality of, whenever I am drawing any 3D object, it's very important to first draw it with these thin guiding lines, and then slowly, as the form evolves, you can you know strengthen certain lines to give it more weightage, and use it as definition line to define the object outlines. So in this case, let's say these 2 3 lines will be like my definition lines. Maybe here, shoulder line for the car, or something like this, right? So this is the basic idea, guys, that you need to be you know, pretty good with and your understanding on the quality of line. If your quality of line is good, your overall sketching will improve magically. Imagine drawing the entire car, or imagine drawing anything with just one stroke quality, one type of stroke. See this thing. It looks quite boring, right? And comparatively, if I draw it with this force, rotate my canvas or sheet, and then do it this way, then this box has more strength and definition compared to this one. This may look like a rock, or no, may look like a chair or sofa, but this one definitely looks like something made of wood or carved out of metal. The strength of the line here shows the strength of the material as well. Now, if I want to give some more definition, I just need to do some hatching. And this is what the next part is, that if your line quality is good, if you understand what line quality really does to a sketching, you can drastically and magically improve your sketching. Now see this part, right? Okay, then moving to the third point. Don't start practicing with ballpoint pen. The number one reason that you shouldn't use ballpoint pen is because they offer very little friction on the paper, like very little grip. And if your hands are not accustomed to this smoothness, your stroke quality will not be that good. So initially, if I try to draw, it goes like this. My line quality is not that great. But if I try to draw the same thing with pencil, I relatively draw a much more defined and controlled stroke. And that is where it creates a huge difference in the training phase. So if I am drawing straight parallel lines like this, and if I try to draw the same with the dot pen, I may not get that variation. So if I want to practice line weight and line variation with a pencil, it's very easily possible to draw different stroke weight and line qualities. With a dot pen, mostly you will get one consistent stroke, and that's what the difference. Also, when I am trying to make certain curves, certain arcs, the variation of strength of line is very difficult to maintain. Right. So avoid using a dot pen. Prefer a pencil. Even if it's a mechanical pencil, it's fine. But stick to pencil and paper at least for the first 6 to 8 months of your sketching practice. Then the fourth most important point is, whenever you're trying to draw complex objects, start with basic shapes. Basic geometric shapes is very important. So if I want to draw something like a watch, something like this, it's a watch, it's going to be a watch. This is my central dial. This is going to be some minute hands and hour hand. May not be that thick, but you know drawing it this way is very difficult. But if I do the same with a box method, it's relatively much easier. So in the first top box, I will have my dial, which will be a 3D cylindrical shape, and then in the remaining part, like where my band goes, in this section also I can consider this as a big box, right? And then the whole band is covered inside that box. So what it does is it actually helps me in doing the detailing. So let's say when I am doing the joinery or the detailing part here, this time it really helps me in creating these basic shapes. And like this. Now if it's a standard typical watch, I will have a pin joint here, a pin going this way, and there will be a band thickness to this part, which may taper as I go towards the clip part of the band. And from this point to this point, there will be a pin joint. This band will be like inside this. And now you see, because I have very little stroke variation in this part of the sketch is not very clear. That's why the stroke variation and having thin strokes in the beginning, and then modifying these strokes to go towards more weight and more definition is very important in detailed product sketchings. And here I take my second side of the other side of the band, and again a very basic shape. And this shape then again is like helping me create a basic structure to the other side of the band. And that's how I define my watch. And now on and this part I can do a lot more detailing based on whether this is a rubber strap or a metal strap or whatever it is. And the same goes here also. Because of this basic shape as the bounding box, now I can define where will be my center of this circle, which is actually an ellipse in this particular angle. So for this I can create it like this is my minute hand, this is my hour hand, or something like this. And then slowly, as I get more clarity on the shape and definition of other elements, I'll slowly give more weight to this stroke. And now because I am seeing from this angle, this other side joint, that pin joint will not be that visible. So all these things are very important when you start doing 3D sketching. And now comes the crown part. Sometimes some watches, like most watches, will have the crown on the right side. Sometimes it may come in the left side also. And now see, again the bounding box helps me because now I can draw this axis which goes again from the center of this box. May not be this strong stroke, but just to help you and for the sake of the video I am making stronger strokes, more bold lines, and that's how it goes. Because it's a 3D object and a mechanical object, it will have a lot of planes intersecting into each other with 90-degree, 120 degrees and all those, precise angles. So that's why it's very very helpful if I go ahead with a box approach and try to define each and every element at certain planes at certain angles. And yeah, that's how it is, guys. So use the bounding box method, use these basic geometric shapes to define. The more you draw these, cylinders and these squares, it really really helps in detailing out, the next phase of any product. Even when you are doing human figure, it is very very critical to, first draw this basic shape, the torso part, the abdomen, I mean the chest part, the abdomen, the hip part, and then these two joints, which is like thighs and lower leg, then this part is like shoulder. So just like we use a skeleton here, the same way this box method helps in all sorts of sketching, especially if you want to get into the details of a sketch. This method will really help you simplify things and, maintain the accuracy part of the drawing. And fifth most important aspect which really really helps in building speed in your drawing is the hatching part, like this. So practicing lines like this really helps me to, give a good 3D look to my drawing object, product, or whatever. And at the same time I don't need to do precise shading for that particular area and make it look, darker or 3D. So so this type of hatching really helps when, I'm trying to create a 3D object. That's how it is. And the best part about hatching is you can easily maintain the value of light and darkness with multiple strokes. So right from this lightest part of this hatching, I can slowly build up the darkness value and easily maintain different shades and tones in my sketching. So if you practice this, the idea of giving more pressure on the pencil and reducing the space between your strokes, you can maintain different shades and you can bring a lot of depth into your sketching just by using one single HB grade pencil. So this is very important, and this is something that you can easily learn in the first 1 or 2 months. So I hope this video helps you, and I hope you practice these few things and improve fast. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment in the comment section. Till then, bye bye, take care, see you in the next video.